Alright, today on Trip In, we're building some furniture. Nah, just kidding. Why is that so dark, bro? G'day, welcome back to another tripping video. Today we're in the workshop and we're going to be robbing a few parts off this old GQ chassis and getting them ready to install into the giveaway car. I've got a bit of a to-do list going over here, so I'll give you a look at it. So we've got to paint the GQ diffs and have them ready to install. I'm actually going to be removing these diffs from underneath this chassis and we'll get them painted up and install them into the other car. Reason being is I've already rebuilt these swivel hubs, so they've got all brand new seals and everything like that. I did paint the diffs, but the paint's a bit rough, so we're going to repaint them and yeah, pretty much just get them ready to throw straight under the giveaway car when we get new suspension. We'll be doing the same with the back diff, but the rear diff center on this diff is actually blown up. I don't know what the damage is. It still does spin, but you can hear it crunching every now and then. So we're gonna have to pull that center out and replace it. Next up, paint the TD42 block, and then order parts for the TD42, organize the fuel pump, and clean up the gearbox. Righto, the plan is, we're going to lift the engine out first. I've brought the engine crane back over to the workshop and I've got an engine stand there. I don't know how the engine stand's going to go holding the weight of this big girl, but we'll see how it goes. We might just have to prop the front of the engine up. So yeah, we'll lift the engine out first. We'll get it sitting on a stand. Then that way we'll be able to pull all the accessories off it, clean it right up, paint the block. We'll have to order some parts for it. So we're going to be replacing the accessories, the aircon compressor, the alternator. We will upgrade the fan hub and the water pump. We'll pull the fuel pump out. This is actually the 11mm boost compensated fuel pump, the factory pump from my GU Patrol. So yeah, we'll pull that out. It needs rebuilding, so we'll send that away, get that rebuilt. So yeah, once we've got that engine out on the stand, then we'll be able to roll these diffs out. The diffs are actually just loosely bolted in because I have had them out before. I do have suspension coming for it. You'll have to wait and find out what we're doing there. I've also got the gearbox at home for this. It's been sitting out in the paddock for a while, so it needs a good clean up. So hopefully we'll get around to cleaning that up as well, getting it ready to go in. We'll have to pull the flywheel off the engine just to be able to put it on the stand. And then I will take the flywheel into town and have it machined as well, ready to go back in. So yeah, that's about it. That's the plan for today's video. That's enough talking, we'll get stuck into it. Ew. Right, I'm just going to pull this flywheel off just so we can attach this part of the engine stand. We'll rip it off. Hopefully this rattle gun can undo these bolts.
Nope.
My little 1/2-inch gun couldn't get it, so I've brought out the big guns, the big Milwaukee 3/4 gun. So if this doesn't get it, I am screwed. Oh, easy. There we go, got that off. That's ready to drop into town, get machined up. So I found these 3 bits of timber outside, and you wouldn't believe it, they're going to be the fucking perfect size to prop this engine up, I think. So hopefully we can just use them, prop this engine up. If we want to wheel it around and move it, I'll just hook it up to the crane and move it. There's no point trying to move it on this engine stand, it'll just collapse and it will not end well. Alright, I got one of the diffs in the trailer here. It's only a little trailer, so I'm only going to fit one diff in, unfortunately. I probably could have fit both of them if I took the tyres off, but I want to leave the tyres on. So we'll take that home and then we'll come back and grab the other one. Alright, I got the second diff loaded up now, so we'll take that back over to the house and then we'll clean them up, get them painted and ready to go underneath the car. Right, I got both the diffs set up here. Absolutely shocking weather. I don't know if you can see it, but it's windy as shit. There's a bit of rain around it. Hopefully it doesn't rain because I want to paint these things, but we are under cover, so it should be alright. Yeah, I got the wire wheel on the grinder. I'm going to go through, wire wheel these diffs up, get them nice and cleaned up. I have already painted them, but they've been sitting out in the paddock for like 2 years, so the paint's gone all shit just from sitting in the sun. So anyway, I'll get them cleaned up and hopefully we can paint them. Alright, I just got my wax and grease remover. I'm just going to use this to rub them down, get any oil, grease, dirt, shit off the diffs. And then we should be right to paint them up. I'll mask the brake discs just so we don't get any paint on them. You don't want that, you don't want paint on them. It's the last place you want paint, so. Anyway, yeah, I'll give these a good old rubbing down. I'm going to pull this diff center out. When I was rolling it over, I could hear shit rattling around inside the diff housing, so there is no oil in there. Well, there shouldn't be much oil in there. So I'm just going to, we'll let this down onto the stands carefully. So yeah, I'll have to just crack these bolts off here and then just pull the axles out. I'll just pull them out enough so they're no longer splined in the diff center, so then I can pull the diff center out. I'll probably have to prop them up just so they're sitting even and don't wreck the axle seals. Alright, my camera just stopped recording, but we got it out. There was a big tooth missing off it, but where are we? That's not what you want to see when you pull your diff apart. But that's alright, we already knew this one was broken. Oh, bits of chunks of metal and shit in there. Anyway, that's alright. We'll clean that diff housing out, get rid of all the metal out of there. I've got another diff on the trailer over there, so we're going to pull that out and jam it in this one. Alright, I don't have any sealant or any diff gasket at the moment, so I'm going to have to get one of them and we'll come back to this and put the diff in later on. Rightio, we're back in the workshop. Now, I've got the engine set up on the stand. As you can see, the timber is still holding it up. We're going to start stripping the engine down. So, with the fuel pump, now this is actually the fuel pump that come off the GU. So this is a factory 11mm pump with the boost compensator on it. Now I'm actually sending the pump over to a fella named Clive Ireland in New Zealand from Island Diesel. Now he actually rebuilt the 10 mil that was originally on this engine. He built that into a 12 mil pump and I put it on the GU. So I'm sending the pump over to him and he's going to rebuild it. I am just getting it rebuilt to a standard 11 mil pump. I've been speaking to him. He is able to wind up the fuel a little bit in the boost compensator, so it will go a little bit better, but you actually can get quite a good amount of power out of 11 mil. Now, I don't want to go crazy with this build. I want it to be a reliable tourer, so there's no point in throwing a 12 mil and trying to get 300 horsepower and breaking cranks. So yeah, we'll stick with the 11 mil. Other than that, we will be pulling pretty much everything off it so I can get access to as much of the block as possible. I'll wire wheel the block, clean it right up, get rid of any oil and shit off it, and then I will be painting it. For paint, I've just gone with the Raptor engine enamel spray cans. Yeah, so we're just going to be painting it a black colour. Yeah, we're not overly worried about it being perfect or anything, so we're just going to clean it up as best we can. Give it a good coat of that. And yeah, hopefully it looks much nicer. We'll also be getting some new accessories, new alternator, maybe a new aircon compressor. I have ordered a new fan hub and water pump for the front. But yeah, other than that, we'll start tearing this thing apart and yeah, let's go. Now just quickly before we start, I've ordered in a small shipment of these caps. I've been rocking a sample for about 4 months now, and it is the best hat I've ever owned. They are actually a washable hat, so when you get it dirty working in the workshop and stuff like that, you can actually just put it under the tap, wash it off, and it will come up like brand new. I've had this thing in the salt water. It doesn't get any salt stains on it. If it does, you can just wash them off, like I said, under the tap. It holds its shape very well. And yeah, so if you want one of these caps, definitely head over to trpn.com.au and grab one. They are an entry into winning the GQ giveaway. So if you want a chance to win this car and a cool ass hat, make sure you head over to the website. I've also got a bundle deal at the moment, so you can get the hat, a shirt, and a sticker pack. You'll get 3 entries into the giveaway, and it's only $89 free shipping. So make sure you head over and check it out. Alright, we've got some paint laid down on the engine. Obviously it's far from perfect. It was extremely hard to get all of the dirt and oil and grease and shit off the engine, obviously because it's been baking on the car for like 20-30 years. So yeah, it would have been impossible to get all of the dirt and shit off there. But anyway, it is only the engine. We're not too worried if it's not perfect, but yeah, it didn't come up too bad. We'll let that dry. I didn't end up pulling the fuel pump off yet, but we'll let that paint dry and then I'll pull this fuel pump off. I wasn't too worried about getting the rocker cover. I am going to be pulling that off and painting that properly, so yeah. We'll let that dry. We'll pull the fuel pump off. Let's go. First up, we've got to pull this front cover off and pull the timing gear out. It's only just sitting on. Now the last time I sent my fuel pump over to Clive in New Zealand, I actually didn't wind it over and get all the fuel out of it. Like I sort of just thought all the fuel was out of it because I tipped it all out. And then, yeah, I sent it off, and then a couple of days later the post office was ringing me saying, "Was there f***ing fuel leaking out of your package?" So I had to they sent it back, and I had to just wind it over and get the fuel out of it. There's no more fuel coming out of that, so it should be alright. I just remembered, I'm going to also pull out these injectors and send them over to Clive as well and get him to put new nozzles on them and pressure test them all. Alright, let's throw them injectors in. And one more bag for good measure. Righto, that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Sorry it was a bit of a boring one. Hopefully soon we can start putting this car back together, get it running and put some shiny parts on it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Yeah, that'll do it. Cheers.